car thief gets a bold lesson in pain when he tries to steal a professional fighter's car.
No one exactly enjoys falling victim to a thief. You could imagine how frustrating it is to have someone come seemingly out of nowhere and take something that's yours. Now, while the career path is less than noble, quite a lot of work actually goes into stealing stuff. And anyone who's ever pulled off a successful heist will tell you just how much work they had to do to ensure the things went off without a hitch. Sadly, though, this isn't the same for every criminal. From clumsy thieves to moronic burglars and dumb shoplifters, we'll be looking at these disorganized thieves in action. Join us as we have a look at 20 of the dumbest thieves caught on camera. Number 20. Trapped in the crime scene. Most thieves who choose to rob a store or a shop tend to do thorough analysis of the locations before heading out on their mission. However, this isn't necessarily the standard for everyone. Back in 2021, a story went viral showcasing the moment when two store thieves literally got locked in the store they were trying to rob. This incident happened in April of that year, with both of the men, Samuel and Trav, entering a mobile phone retail shop and looking to score some loot.
Close the door, lock the door. Go lock the door. Lock the door. Lock the door. I want the door locked. You got lock. Come here. Show me your clothes. Show me your clothes. Show me clothes. Oh, he lost it. All right, come on.
One of the thieves took the store owner, named Tommy, to the back of the store and told him to begin loading up the phones in his bag.
Where the paper on the phone? These phones are on the paper. The paper on the phone. The phones are over there. Well, again. I want to get the galaxy. Go to galaxy. Oh, don't look at me. Look at me.
But here's the thing, though. These guys didn't know the store like Tommy did, and he was quick to run out of the shop through the back door, locking it behind him. And if you recall, one of those thieves had already locked the store through the front door. After Tommy made his way out, a man pulled down the security gate that blocked the front door as well, leaving the two thieves trapped inside. At this point, the men knew that the jig was up.
Yo, open the door for me. Take right open the door. Push it out for me. Yo, what I'm doing here? Yo, go talk about, yo, you want to record me?
A crowd had gathered at the scene already, and in a short while they were then arrested. Number 19. The snowy robbery fail. Sometimes a thief's ploy becomes so brazen and stupid that even Mother Nature decides to chip in and get back at them. Take this guy, for instance. In January of 2021, a man living in Canada would be alarmed when security cameras at his house had picked up some other person who was trying to steal packages from the front of his home. As you would expect, the guy got up and ran to the door to confront the would-be thief, and that's when things took an incredibly hilarious turn from there.
Yeah, that's done. You're done.
Now, the fact that this guy's theft attempt failed in and of itself was already an embarrassment of the highest proportions, but to make things even worse, his car then got stuck in the snow as he tried to escape. And let me tell you, it was one tough snow patch.
You're done. Cops is coming. Cops is coming. Please, call the police, now!
In what may just be the craziest sequence of all time, the guy's wheel got stuck in the snow the entire time, leaving enough time for the police to come and apprehend him. I mean, you know you already messed up when the person you're trying to steal from is literally giving you advice. Number 18. Inadequate getaway car. If you've ever seen a heist movie, then you've probably seen would-be thieves plotting from different angles. However, one thing that they all seem to have in common is the getaway car. Overstating the importance of a good getaway car is literally impossible. Once a thief gets done with their operation, they will surely need a set of wheels to get them the heck out of there and in a quick way. Now, when it comes to the getaway car, you don't only need any regular vehicle. You need one that works properly with the item that you're moving. But it appears that this guy did not quite get that memo. After rushing out of the store he had just robbed, this criminal simply chucked the items that he had stolen into the back of the pickup truck. Considering that the truck itself was already full, it was the easiest thing in the world for the store attendant to retrieve it before the vehicle began to move. And honestly, the robber should count himself lucky that he didn't end up in jail. Better luck next time, I suppose. Number 17. Thwarted by a sprinkler. This next clip is not necessarily the fault of the thief himself, but still, he should get some knocks for not being so observant. Back in 2020, Josh and Katie Camarina of Porterville, California would share a clip on their social media that showed a point when they were able to ward off a would-be thief in the smartest way possible. As the Camarinas would explain at the time, there had been a noticeable rise in petty burglaries in their neighborhood. Particularly, burglars would break into people's cars and steal different work tools or perhaps even the cars themselves. With the police barely being any help, the Camarinas decided to take matters into their own hands, and they rigged their pickup truck with a simple motion-triggered sprinkler system. And here's what happened to the first guy who got caught. The guy came ready for a heist and got a face full of water instead. Talk about a bad day at the office. Number 16. Worst heist location. If you look around yourself, you'll probably notice that there are a lot of cities that are now embracing bikes more than ever. We live in a world where everyone's trying to go green and protect the environment, and cities are also embracing this trend by creating pathways for people to ride their bikes safely. Now, I'm not sure if this thief was looking to get in on that trend or if he had some customers who just needed a bike, but either way, back in 2019, this guy had the absolute nerve to head to a police station in Oregon and try and steal one of the bikes that was parked right outside. As he tried to work the locks on the bike, one of the police officers would simply come out and bust him red-handed. I have no idea why a person would want to steal from a police station of all places. I mean, was it a dare? Perhaps he was under the influence of something. Just how dumb could he have been to think that he could pull this off? Number 15. Chainsaw in the pants. Hiding stuff under your clothing is a common practice amongst newbie thieves. Even children do it. You go to a convenience store, take a bar of chocolate, and then you just put it under your shirt or something. But still, there's a reason why this action is only reserved for the novices. At the end of the day, there's a limit to what you can put under your clothing without being noticed. Back in 2014, one guy decided to test that limit, and he would be caught on camera having decided to rob an appliance store in Florida. And he wanted to steal, wait for it, a chainsaw. To make things even worse, he literally slipped that chainsaw into his own pants. The guy moved as slowly as he could outside of the store, where he then got onto a bicycle, which according to reports had also been stolen. Unfortunately, a standby officer was able to catch this weird behavior and trail the bicycle, and in no time the man would be arrested. I'm not really sure exactly how he expected to get away with that one. I mean, why not try stealing a car and stuffing it down there next time? Number 14. Self-snitching. Our next entry is someone who didn't necessarily get caught while committing a crime, but instead, her action of stupidity came after the crime itself. Back in 2012, a woman by the name of Hannah Sabata gained national popularity after she robbed a bank in Waco, Texas. Hannah's heist saw her stealing $6,000 from the bank, and she seemingly went scot-free. But here's the thing. Instead of just laying low with her cash, she literally went onto YouTube and published a video explaining everything that she had done. It was a 7-minute-long snitch-a-thon. Hannah spoke about everything she had done and all the things that she had stolen, essentially bragging about her escapades. She said that she was going shopping the next day, but that never happened. That's because York County Sheriff's Department would quickly find the video and identify her, and the next day they tracked her and arrested her. Number 13. The clumsy robber. Do you want to know the sign of an absolute novice thief? Well, check out this guy. Back in September of 2018, this man tried to steal money from an electronic vaporizer store in Colorado. However, his operations went bust not long after it all began. The thief walked casually into the store in baggy clothing and glasses, and then moved close to the cashier, flashing his firearm. The only problem was that the guy had the worst butterfingers of all time, and as soon as he flashed the gun, he then dropped it. He quickly tried to recover by jumping over the counter to take the money instead, but his gun had flopped to the other side and into the hands of the cashier. Realizing that the jig was up, he then burst out of there in a flash, and there was no hope for him after that. Number 12. The manual dilemma. To help ensure the safety of their products, a lot of vehicle manufacturers will install different anti-theft systems in their cars. Alarms, sensors, and other features will help a car's owner to keep tabs on their ride and protect it from theft. But do you want to know what works best when it comes to protecting your car from thieves? Apparently, it's just thieves who are unable to operate the damn car in the first place. Earlier this year, footage would show a couple of teenage carjackers who were able to force an old man out of his car in an attempt to steal it. But the problem was, however, they couldn't operate the car because it had a manual transmission. According to reports, the DC-based man had apparently just pumped his gas and was looking to leave the gas station. The teenagers were stalking him, and then they pounced just as he was about to get back into his vehicle. And so the operation was successful, but the men soon realized that the car ran on a manual transmission, and just like that, the jig was up. You would think they'd be ready to drive the car regardless of its transmission system, but these dolts apparently had not been prepared for what was coming. Number 11. Not built for this. Now, if you think about it, carjacking is a pretty insane thing. Most carjackers take advantage of others who can't defend themselves, and then they steal their cars. But what happens when the proposed victim is more than able to hold their own? Back in August of 2021, surveillance footage would make the rounds that showed a moment when a guy tried to steal someone else's car. As that driver was about to pull out of a gas station, the carjacker quickly moved in for the steal, but sadly, they had made one fatal error. Apparently, the person who was driving the car was none other than Jordan Williams, a professional ultimate fighting champion. The carjacker had tried to rough-handle Jordan, but the fighter was more than up to the task, and as soon as he was able to get on equal footing, the guy takes off. Yeah, he did not want any of that smoke, I can guarantee it. Number 10. The dreadful fall. For most thieves, the realization that a robbery attempt has failed is usually accompanied by massive panic, and the best thing to consider once that happens is how to immediately flee the scene. In June of 2018, a pair of thieves in Edmonton, Alberta, caused quite the stir online after footage would show them trying to steal cans of soda from a convenience store. After they had initially made their attempt, the pair was immediately apprehended by the police, and their whole robbery attempt would be over before it even began. While the guy eventually got apprehended, the lady decided to take a drastic measure in her plot to escape, and that's when she jumped through the ceiling shaft and thought only to hide in the ceiling for a bit until things cooled off. However, things did not go quite as well for her either. If the pair had done a proper stakeout, then perhaps she would have known that the ceiling was not made of concrete or something strong enough to support her weight, but sadly, the price of being unprepared was that she eventually got caught. Number 9. Liar, liar, pants on fire. They say that beauty is pain. I'm not really sure how true that saying is, but one thing I can guarantee you is that this woman probably never considered the pain of the embarrassment she was going to feel before taking on this daring operation. In this next clip, we see a woman who was caught trying to shoplift. And where did she put the clothing items that she tried to steal? Well, in her underwear.
Anything like this. Vamos, Suarez. How many? So we get arrested.
9.
According to reports, this kangaroo lady had worn a pair of boxer shorts with built-in pouches that would allow her to place the clothing items inside of them directly. Sadly, though, she never accounted for the CCTV camera being in the shop that was on her all throughout her entire operation. The footage itself was not released by the police department, but footage of the woman being uncovered was allowed to be posted online. And just take a moment to check out the look on her face as different clothing was being pulled out of her crotch, one piece at a time. If you're ever considering a life of crime and petty theft, you should ask yourself, is it really worth all of this kind of embarrassment? Number 8. No way out. Still doubting the importance of proper planning when it comes to your robbery? Well, just take a look at this next clip as a reference. Earlier this year, the internet would be sent into raucous laughter after this clip came out of a Beachboro Australian man showing the moment when he tried to rob a liquor store only to be foiled by a crafty door trick. You see, certain stores install specific automatic doors that can only be opened and closed by the attendant. These doors will offer all of the usual benefits. They help to control traffic in the store and can also be pretty nifty when it comes to stopping crime. And in this guy's case, the latter benefit would come in pretty handy for the store's owner. As the clip will show, the guy held his pack of booze and then tried to make his way to the counter as if he was getting ready to pay, when all of a sudden, he changed course and tried to dart towards the door instead. The problem, however, was that the store had these auto-controlled doors and he needed the attendant's help in order to get out. It didn't take him long to figure out that he was screwed at that point. He simply walked back to the attendant, dropped the packet of beer, and walked away in complete shame. Number 7. Heist of the Year. Do you remember Barbershop, the movie where Anthony Anderson's character stole an ATM? Well, it appears that this next guy got a little bit of inspiration from that movie, but hold on to your hats because you're not going to believe what happened. In March of 2019, a man in New Jersey shared footage of someone literally trying to steal an ATM in broad daylight. Unlike other people on this list who tried to steal some small things, this guy was going for the big time, and let's just say that his failure was just as spectacular. Now, I don't know where he got the ATM from, but he literally tried to drag it down the street. And with no getaway driver, he decided to just try public transport instead, but the bus driver was not having any of it.
Yo, this nigga violent.
If the footage for this one didn't get out, I would have thought that it was a skit, but considering that it was released by a comedian, there's a chance that it might have been a staged prank. Number 6. The Stuck Thief. Why do professional thieves spend a great deal of time worrying about logistics? Well, if they don't, they end up like this guy. Back in 2022, this footage went viral, showing a moment when a thief had apparently gotten himself stuck in a wall while trying to make a score. According to reports, the guy had been looking to rob a temple in India, and so, instead of walking through the front door, he decided to make a hole in the side of the window and crawl through. The problem, however, was that he did not account for the size of the hole and the ornaments that he was trying to steal. And so, as he tried to crawl back out, he then got stuck.
A thief in Andhra Pradesh got stuck in a hole he drilled in the wall of a temple for stealing ornaments. The accused, who was trying to escape with the ornaments from the Jami Yellamma temple in the coastal district of Srikakulam, got stuck in the hole. Later, the thief was caught red-handed as he started shouting for help after getting stuck in the hole. A video of the incident had gone viral on social media. After being fled, the thief was taken into custody.
He was eventually forced to cry for help and would be arrested by the local police after having been forced back out of the man-made hole. Number 5. A thoughtful thief. They say there's no honor amongst thieves, but I think that watching this guy may well make you disagree with that statement. Last year, a man by the name of Marcus Hubbard would catch headlines after surveillance footage shows a moment that he stole a man's lawnmower in Port Arthur, Texas. According to the footage, Marcus had entered into the victim's home and then went straight into their yard, where he then took the lawnmower. But before making off, he proceeded to mow the victim's lawn one more time. When the police arrived on the scene, they claimed that Marcus immediately made a run for it. However, the weight of the lawnmower was just too much for him to go with, and so he ditched the appliance and tried running away. At the time of the report, Marcus had never been arrested, but at least we can all hope that he'll be as courteous to his fellow inmates in jail as he was to that victim. Number 4. Robber turns hostage. Now, you know the tables can turn on a situation in a flash. I've personally always been fascinated by that. And if you're like me, then you'll definitely appreciate this next clip. In 2018, a man by the name of John Bell tried to enter a Houston phone shop with the intent to rob it. And in a flash, he literally saw that things would not end his way. The operation began quite well, with John entering the shop and flashing his gun. But because he did not have a partner to help him watch the door, he would be easily outsmarted by the shop's owner and her customers, all of whom ran for the door and simply locked him inside. When John came back out, he was stunned to find that he was locked in, and boy did he throw a tantrum. After struggling with the door for a bit, he soon realized the jig was up, and he literally began to pray to God.
Please, 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 I have nothing, please, 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 please.
Yeah, something tells me that God's not going to do much for you today, man. Number 3. Slippery when wet. If you thought that Mother Nature had a soft spot for thieves, you would be wrong as well. In January of 2018, this porch pirate learned that the hard way. As the footage will show, this woman had been tasked with stealing 3 packages from a victim's porch in Seattle, but the only problem was, however, that it was January, and the Christmas weather was still very much in full swing. The operation began smoothly enough, with the woman managing to get the packages and move them along, but as she tried to scurry back into her getaway car, she then slipped and fell on the wet surface. The fall was so severe that she apparently sprained her ankle. Fortunately for her, though, she was able to get some help from her getaway driver, who then came and whisked her away. Talk about instant karma. Number 2. No threats cited. Most thieves who are unable to access firearms for their robberies will tend to try and make it appear as though they have one instead. After all, it doesn't really matter if you have one. If people think that you're armed, they will simply comply. Sadly, the guy did not have the firearm or even the charisma to pull off the operation. Earlier this year, footage emerged of a man who got into a hair salon and literally tried to bully people into giving him money. The suspect went into the salon with his hand in a bag, essentially trying to appear as though he may have been armed, but the people at the salon quickly recognized his grift, and they barely even moved.
Everybody get down! Give me all your money! It's got the boxes! Give me all your money!
As much as he had tried to scream and try to seem menacing, the guy just couldn't pull it off. No one seemed to be threatened by him, and they all just kind of kept looking unbothered.
Where's the money?
Defeated, and perhaps even embarrassed, he just eventually left the place. Number 1. Outnumbered and outgunned. Do you know what's worse than not having a firearm for a robbery? Having an inadequate weapon. Back in July of 2014, this footage would leak onto the internet, showing a moment when someone broke into a branch of the Agricultural Bank of China in Shanghai and then tried to rob it. The problem, however, was that he was only armed with a knife. To his credit, though, the guy actually took a hostage, but it became pretty clear that he didn't even have the stomach to hurt the lady or do anything to her. Eventually, he would have no choice but to make a run for it, and when he got to the door, he found that it had been locked and that there was no escape. At the end of the day, security guards and even a janitor at the bank would corner him and subdue him. Yeah, he put in all of that work, only to be beaten out by an old woman with a brush. What a sad situation. Now I know the common knowledge is that criminals are smart, but these guys, well, they appear to be the exception to that rule. Have you ever witnessed any dumb criminals before? And have you committed a dumb crime yourself? Let me know all about it in the comments down below. Subscribe to this channel and hit that like button so that you can get more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.